Hey everybody, welcome to Late Night Horror Show. Got another episode for you, man.
Good show.
This one a good one. Nightbreed, 1990. Clive Barker, written and directed by Clive Barker.
Mm-hmm.
Starring another big name,
yes,
David Cronenberg.
Yes, that David Cronenberg.
He
and
stars in this movie. If you haven't seen
David Cronenberg movies, you know The Fly with Jeff Goldblum.
Oh, yeah.
But you got to go back to his early catalog, like Shivers and Rabid. Remember, we met Marilyn Chambers, a 70s porn star who was in this movie.
Yeah.
And she autographed my DVD.
Yeah.
With Rabid Lust.
But
and I was wearing my Dawn of the Dead t-shirt, and she said she liked my shirt.
Yes.
And she invited me back up to the hotel room. Cinema Wasteland.
Yeah, Cinema Wasteland. Mummy and the Monkey. There you go, guys.
Yep, that was an old Cinema Wasteland.
If Janet and James is watching this one.
Yep.
So Nightbreed. This is, man, Clive Barker.
Got
Hellraiser.
Screwed on this movie.
A movie that did not do great.
No, we'll talk about that.
This is a freaking great movie.
I mean, basically, a brief synopsis is there's this guy named Aaron Boone who has these visions.
Who is Angel and who is, what's his name from Buffy?
No, he's not. He looks like Angel from Buffy. He's not Angel from Buffy.
Wait!
No, but he looks a lot like him.
That's not the same dude?
No. You thought it was David Bourne?
Ted. Yes.
He looks just like him, doesn't
That's not him?
No, it's not him.
People, I need to go get some help. Holy crap.
I've always thought that too. It's like that so looks like the guy from Buffy.
Okay, go on.
But anyway,
finish the
he has these he's had some psychiatric problems and but he has these visions of a place called Midian that's full of monsters, creatures.
Midian.
All varieties. And at the same time he's seeing
Don't let me distract you. I just got to look it up now.
At the behest of his girlfriend, he's seeing a psychiatrist named Dr. Philip Decker. This is David Cronenberg, and that's a little shout out to Philip K. Dick, Philip Decker, because because his name's Philip K. Decker, and so you got Philip K. Dick, and Decker was Harrison Ford's character in Blade Runner. Decker,
right?
So a little shout out there, and this guy is actually a serial killer who likes to kill families.
Yes,
and
what better way than to take the crazy ones that you see and use their illnesses to conduct your killing
and to make them think that they're the ones who did it,
similar to the Hannibal series that was on TV. But anyway,
really, I never watched it. But, and through a course of events, Boone does find the real Midian. He becomes infected after a bite from one of the creatures that exists there, and he becomes Nightbreed. He becomes one of them. And then it's this whole, humans are attacking Midian, and the monsters have to fight back. Yeah. And it's really the monsters that are the pitiable ones, the ones that we're rooting for in this movie. And that was one of the problems with the movie when it first came out. The studio just really didn't know what to do with it.
Right.
You know, they had this awesome movie.
Don't ask me why. Why would you even question, God forbid you care about the creature?
It wasn't that time.
It was King Kong we cared about.
And that's what you got to remember.
The pitiful giant.
You got to remember those old movies.
It was taken from
the Frankenstein monster,
yeah.
King Kong. You felt bad for them. They weren't really bad guys. They just, people fucked with them.
Yeah. Just like there could be good spirits, good demons.
Sure.
Well, good demons, good spirits. I'll take it that much.
But this movie.
But these monsters, yeah.
And they're all so different individual personalities. All of them look so different.
The underground city, under the grave.
So great.
Every character. I'll tell you this much. Yeah, Clive Barker. He's got an imagination. If you've read his books. Mm-hmm. Weave World, all these other...
back in those days, he couldn't be topped. After Books of Blood, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, Stephen King's the master, Clive Barker's the prince. Go back and read some of Clive Barker's classic novels, man.
Hellbound Heart.
Yeah.
Nightbreed is based on a short novel called Cabal.
Yeah.
And that's the name that Boone takes.
Let us get that out there. Our information,
Nightbreed. And the movie, the original script
and
of
we
the
are
movie,
Nightbreed.
Oh, of course. really did follow the story pretty well. Pretty well.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But I know I just drank a Coca-Cola here.
CP. Anyways, go ahead.
Coca-Cola. Coke. Got a Coca.
Him and his Coca-Cola. From Willis Credia.
I'm addicted to it.
He's addicted to
vanilla Coke. Clive Barker, he's coming off the success of Hellraiser, and I don't even know if I think they did Hellraiser 2 already. I'm not sure if they had done Hellraiser 2 already. They did that pretty quick after Hellraiser 1. So I think both Hellraisers were done. And he got on to do this film Nightbreed, which is going to be about a city of monsters. And
let me just interject again.
Please.
The Aaron Boone, who's played by Craig Schaefer or whatever.
Not David Boreanaz.
I cannot believe how much he looks exactly like
I actually looked him up to see if they were related.
Ted, that's just nuts.
Because they do look a lot.
If I have the time to put two pictures here and show them together, I will.
Put a picture of him from that movie, and then a picture of Angel.
That is nuts. But anyways,
I know.
So I'll close that down. But
So this movie, he made his movie, and then this is Clive Barker wasn't a big name. He was a writer, not so much a movie director.
Right.
So he didn't get final cut. Mm-hmm. You got all these producers watching it, testing it with audiences, and eventually, like an hour of it gets chopped out. They had reshoot scenes, and what ended up being what we all saw. It's like you knew there was something cool there, and I still liked it. I mean, there was some cool shit in that movie.
Still liked it, but yeah.
And we thought all that stuff was lost, and then finally, fairly recently, all the pieces were found. They've put it back together. It toured around as the Cabal cut, which had everything in it.
Yeah.
And then finally, Clive Barker was able to, as close as he possibly could, get his director's cut available.
Yeah.
Which makes the movie about 20 minutes longer, but there's actually about 45 minutes of new footage altogether.
Yeah.
So it's not a completely different film, but it's a better film, and it's a bit of a different film.
Yeah, I would say director's cut all the way.
Oh, yeah. And then that's pretty much all that's available. If you can watch it for free on Tubi TV. It's on Amazon Prime if you want to watch it. So there's no reason
all
not
your
to
local
if you
discount movie stores.
Absolutely. They even did release on Blu-ray the Cabal cut. I didn't buy that because some of the footage is choppy and not so good, and it'd be cool to see it all, but it's not what he intended.
Right. For this, you just need the director's cut. Mm-hmm. And unless you're really, really into Clive Barker.
So this was all taken away from him. Mm-hmm. And what he had originally wanted to do was, if this hit, he envisioned, like a trilogy of films. Because this film does sort of end where something more is coming.
Oh, yeah.
And, it's
ends
not.
on a cliffhanger, yeah.
Sort of, yeah. And which is not how the original ended. It's a different ending.
Yeah.
But, Clive Barker, like us, was a monster kid and grew up loving the old Universal monsters and all those old monster movies. And, he said, you used to feel something for Frankenstein's monster and King Kong, like we just said. And I wanted to do a film like that. I wanted to write a story like that and do a film like that. Mm-hmm. And have all these different breeds of monsters that had been shunned by the human race.
Yes.
And now they live in this...
Over the millennia.
Yeah. And now they live in this underground city that is amazing. I mean, all the bridges and...
Well, I don't know if I'd want to, if I was a regular human, want to walk through there, because there's some scary-ass dudes down there.
Yes. But it's like the further you go, the weirder they get.
Yeah, and some dangerous.
Yeah, the berserkers, the ones that they can't control.
Because they take them all in, but I mean...
Every single one had different makeup, real practical makeup effects, no computers in this, very cool. Little.
Yeah.
Real work went into this.
If you love practical effects,
tactile.
Makeup... monster makeup, so effects.
Good.
This is the movie, man. Yeah.
And and again,
chances are you've seen it if you're watching this too.
Absolutely.
But, yeah.
And when this was just taken away, they didn't even know how to cut a proper trailer for it. You go watch the original trailer. I don't think they even show any monsters in it. I think they show David Cronenberg. I love the mask he wears in that movie. By the way.
I wanted to bring that up too.
That mask, his serial killer mask.
Yeah, and I believe some people have gotten inspiration from that in certain, not big pictures, but other horror movies that I've seen. That same similar
with the mouth all askew.
I think there was a newer movie called The Collector that kind of had that,
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I've seen. That, I haven't watched the film, but I've seen
the
original.
But his mask, is just for his character, David Cronenberg, man. And
he's actually not a bad actor in this film.
No,
he does pretty well, and I love a lot of Cronenberg films. He hasn't most of his more recent ones I haven't dug so much.
No.
But when he did horror, he did some of the most unique horror. Videodrome, The Brood. Yeah. He ddid The Fly. He did. What other horror films?
He even did a Yogi Bear.
He did the Yogi Bear
because he loved the Yogi. No, I'm just.
But check out some of the. I mean, he had some really cool ideas. Dead Ringers with Jeremy Irons playing the twins.
Yeah, that was
not
good
so
movie
much
too.
A horror film, but
more a psychological drama type of things. But still a good movie.
He did the infamous Crash, which I actually liked.
Right. Yeah.
I went to James Spader.
James Spader. Yeah,
I saw that at the theater when it was all controversial and everything.
Right. Yeah. That. Oh my God. Yeah.
That was at the Cedar Lee. I remember.
It's rated NC-17.
Oh yes, I had to go see it. And I mean, it's like about sex and car crashes. I mean, that was. But I mean, he's done some acting as well. Hell, he was in Jason 10.
Yeah, right.
Jason in Space.
Yeah,
Jason in Space.
Oh my God!
But yeah, he plays a really cool serial killer in this film. And actually, I don't. The girlfriend, I don't think she's that strong of an actress in the film. But she's
a character.
She's perfectly fine for what she's got to do.
Plays her role fine.
Fine.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Boone's kind of the
cops
main.
Are kind of over the top, whatever.
He's the main guy. He's the main guy, and David Cronenberg.
But ultimately, it comes down to like a big battle over Midian. The cops and the doctor, and there's this priest that ends up being kind of a neat character.
And Doug Bradley from Hellraiser. Plays in this movie. He
plays like a Moses-looking lawgiver type character. And the sad thing is, his lines were completely overdubbed by some German actor.
Yeah.
And when they did the director's cut, he got to go back and redo all his lines. So it's his voice now doing his character.
Yeah, because
he was never happy with the movie because
they were upset.
They made.
They were upset too that he kept going. He was talking like Pinhead. He was going, "You must leave now.
What sights we have to show."
No, I'm joking, but
I mean, he's a lot of the actors that did the film, ended up saying, I just don't know what happened. It was such a great movie, and then they did this, and they chopped it all up to hell. They sold it more like a slasher, right. And then when people actually went to go see it, you're expecting one thing, you get another,
right.
And because of everything they chopped out of it, it didn't connect with people.
But making it the director's cut and over time, it is a cult classic. Right. Everybody, I think, could agree that you love this movie, right?
And there is an audience for it, because even back then there was a computer game for it.
Yeah.
There was a comic book series. Now I don't know if it's Sci-Fi or whatever channel is going to start doing a Nightbreed series.
True, right. Yeah,
so
that's I think Sci-Fi channel.
So it's getting. They're going to have Critters and the new Critters movie and.
Okay, I take it back. If I'm wrong, let me know in the bottom. But I believe that.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because that's what I was going to say. I don't think it's Netflix.
I'm double thinking here, and I'm not.
I think it is
right,
Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah.
But so maybe I'll actually start tuning into Sci-Fi Channel.
No, hell yeah!
Because it's getting new life and maybe another chance to tell that story. Yeah. Because there was so much of it, and like you said, with the new director's cut, it ends on a cliffhanger with them trying to find, Midian's been destroyed, and we have to find a new Midian. And Cabal is the prophecy. He was foretold in the prophecy that all the Nightbreed had, that he would lead them to their new home, and so that's what he's doing with the ones who survived. Leading them, to their new home.
Because there was writing on the wall, like to showing the
And single shines the triple sun, man, like in Dark Crystal.
Right. Yeah. So,
but it was a prophecy.
Yeah, and his girlfriend, technically, I mean, she
becomes Nightbreed as well.
She becomes Nightbreed, too, because you gotta.
You got to be infected by a Nightbreed.
Yes. And did he bite her? Or did
he bit her.
Yeah, he bit her. Okay, so
she stabbed herself.
Right.
So that he would do that.
Gotcha. Yeah. We watched this
forced him.
3 weeks ago in my mind. I'm trying to think back 3 weeks ago.
Then we had Christmas, and then I don't know. I was sick a week.
Yeah.
I was sick for a
So
while.
you got a couple Danny Devil videos up. A little weird.
Thanks for helping out there, Danny.
But, he wanted to do some stuff and got a series coming there with Duncan, with all those questions. But anyway,
I think it's just a film that was ahead of its time.
Hell yeah.
In that, now we have all, you can't even have a movie anymore that's got like a real bad guy in it most of the time. I mean, when the original Star Wars came out, Darth Vader was a bad dude, all right? And then maybe at the very end, okay, yeah, he turned good. Right, but now you got these new ones where you got this emo guy who's supposed to, and he can't even be bad. He's got to be, you got to feel a little bad for him. And, and...
No, you don't, I'm trying to think. I don't,
And so now... now we've got movies with monsters. You had like all those underworld movies and stuff. You can pick a side, or you had like that Twilight shit and
that's a little,
all that. And it's not like those movies.
I don't think
haven't always been.
I don't think you're sympathetic towards them, though, are you? Well, maybe the characters, like in Twilight and Underworld.
Whenever there's unrequited love and things like that.
I guess so. You're right.
It's not like it's anything new, but for some reason. Just when Clive was doing this film, just in the 80s or whatever, that had just fallen out of fashion. You had your Michael Myers, you had your Jason, your Freddy, your Chucky, your Pinhead. I mean, these were just bad dudes. There was no redeeming qualities about any of this stuff. And Clive Barker,
he was trying to pick up and go off with something different. Right. Yeah.
And even though Clive Barker sort of out of the gate running. I mean, Clive Barker didn't just start off as a writer. He was a playwright. They did plays together in England, in London. Mm-hmm. That was his first gig. Yeah. And then he started writing and, kind of wrote some horror stories that were successful. But it's not like... I think he'd be the first one to tell you he didn't want to be a horror writer.
Right.
He has attempted, he has written other things that aren't horror. This was a project that he felt real passionate about because he loved old monster movies. Yep. And his quote was, I wanted to make the Star Wars of monster movies. I wanted to make, like a trilogy of films with, these great monster characters.
Sorry, I'm just looking up some of the things that, he did. Of course, all the Hellraisers.
Absolutely. Oh, and don't forget, like, Candyman and stuff like that.
Book of Blood, Candyman, of course. I mean, how can we forget Candyman?
But he's had some duds, too. Lord of Illusions wasn't that great, even though it was a better story.
Yeah.
But, he's even, like, his newest book, that Scarlet Gospels, which has Pinhead in it. Most people don't believe he actually wrote it, that, like, his assistant wrote it,
really?
Ghost wrote it or whatever.
The Midnight Meat Train.
Yeah, that's actually in the Books of Blood. That's one of the stories in there. Yep. I remember that one.
But yeah.
So I think just at the time he made it, it's not like there weren't movies with sympathetic monsters in it before. If you go back to the old monster movies or... even in the 60s, like when you had Dark Shadows TV series and, Barnabas, the vampire who was cursed and didn't want to be a vampire and felt so bad and guilty. Yeah. Everybody loved Dark Shadows. I love Dark Shadows. And...
if you can binge watch, man,
I still haven't finished every episode.
Put that on the list.
That's on Amazon Prime if you want to watch it.
And try to get through it. Because there's how many episodes?
Oh, God, there's like 1,200. I have all of them.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I bought that big coffin set.
The big box.
With the autographed picture of Jonathan Frid before he passed
Every now
away.
and then I'll get in the mood and I'll start watching it. But it's hard to make it to that end. And you eventually pick up and go,
you want to watch something else for a while. And then, then you got to start over or back. But it's a soap opera. You pick it up right away and you remember where it was at. And,
right.
But it was so damn creative. But I guess my point is,
what is your point?
That there were, certainly characters in the horror genre at certain periods of time that were pitiable. But unfortunately, I think Clive's movie just came around at a time when that wasn't in vogue. Right. His movie never took off. It never connected with an audience. It became a cult classic. Like I said, there were comic books and computer games and
the series coming up. So yeah.
And now we got this. And when the Cabal Cut started touring, at like different horror conventions, I mean, people loved it. The Cabal Cut had everything, like every bit of scrap of footage they could find. It was all in there. Yeah. And from that, fortunately, a lot of times studios just throw that shit away, and they actually had it. So he didn't know they had it. So he was able to put together a cut that he was happy with, and it's not a perfect movie. It's a better movie, but it's such a unique film. It's
it is. It's different.
All the different creatures, and they're all different and unique and have different abilities.
So iconic too. I mean, it's become one of those VHS covers. That are just iconic. You've always you'll always remember that.
I had the DVD, and then now I've got the Blu-ray of the director's cut. And
his firstborn child was her name was Midian.
Midian. That's a great name for a child.
Named her Midian.
But it's just a film
one
that
of the monsters of the deep. He said.
Well, Monsters of the Deep. It's a film that I really love. The book is really good too. If you haven't read it, read Cabal. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And read some more Clive Barker because
hell yeah,
Weave World. I think they were even working on a Weave World show. Like a whole world inside a carpet.
Oh.
Can you imagine that?
That's a good book. That's one I got through too, man. And
I read that way back in the day, like when it first came out on paperback. I remember the cover. That's when I read the cover, and then there was man, it's just like falling on a carpet and you just fall into a world.
Great times.
And if you haven't seen Nightbreed, you should really check it out. There's a couple of ways to watch it, at home.
Tubi TV.
You got to sit through a few commercials.
You don't have to pay for it.
No, and but I would support Scream Factory and pick up the Blu-ray. It's well worth it. A lot of good bonus features on there. You can't get the good
stuff.
The good, limited edition one anymore with the theatrical cut if you want it. But I'll never watch that again anyway. I really like this director's cut better. So this is just I know we hate on some movies and we gush on others, and this is just one of those ones that I think is just really cool that everybody should watch. I don't think enough of you guys talk about it. So I don't know if any other shows have touched on it. I almost wanted to do a whole commentary on it, but we've kind of moved to we have lives and we kind of moved to a shorter format here. But if there was a commentary-worthy movie that we were going to go back to, I would want to do
it would have been
Nightbreed because there was, I really just scraped the surface.
Not to say that every now and then we don't. I'm working on vamping up the Patreon, and that's might be where every now and then we're going to throw commentaries up there because what the hell, for the fans who really like them,
right? And it's a unique film. It was a special film. It was special to Clive, and it could have been more. And when I watch it, it leaves me wanting more. And
we'll be getting it, hopefully it will be good. But again, we won't know until we see it.
But
so,
it's not going to be all those practical effects that we loved, and that's just part of what I like because it's just so.
You'll never get what we got from the movie.
It's just tactile and real, and that's like what I always say. Like I like the old Ray Harryhausen special effects. I love that stop motion, even though that's not what's in this film.
Even Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh yeah,
I know different movie, but same. Like a lot of different aliens, and that was all practical,
real
effects and stuff.
That's so what I like. And some people might say, "Oh, it looks fake" or whatever, but.
Three boots.
It almost looks real. I mean, I don't want to say it almost looks real.
No,
it's like whatever. When you watch like a big overblown CGI movie, like an Avengers movie or something like that, it just looks so real. It looks fake.
Yeah.
Whereas you watch
even though it's a practical
Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, it looks fake, but yet it looks real because you could see texture, and that also lends itself to the fantasy of the film, where all of the effects, all the monster effects in Nightbreed look real to me. And
even so, even if it wasn't perfect in some of the creatures, the way the writing and the way they made the movies back then in some of these, like this one, like Hellraiser, I mean like Nightbreed and Hellraiser, you get this bond with the character because the character's so good that you overlook, like Pinhead even, you overlook the pins and how, if you look real close, you can see how the makeup effects were done and stuff, but you totally look at him as a...
Because it's such a cool character and you're sucked in.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point. Like, with every one of these creatures in Nightbreed, I keep saying Hellraiser, Nightbreed, you look past the practical effects and the makeup and stuff because they are a character and they're so genuine And
all of them are different.
Done so good and so well.
Even just the brief time you get to spend with each of them, they're all different.
Exactly.
All got different personalities.
Because there's an actor and actress in that makeup that went through the time to get that applied and took on that
made
character.
A character.
That, and there's a way of lighting and everything else making these things. If you get a good director and movie, you can do it right, which is my whole point when it comes to the new stuff. Which I'm finding some good new movies, but again,
it's the thing, you just gotta.
It depends what movies, You
gotta dig, and for every turd there might be a diamond in there somewhere. And you've found some lately, which is cool. So there you go. That's our Hellraiser. That's our banter. Our Nightbreed banter.
Did I say Hellraiser?
You did again, but that's all right. You should put Hellraiser in the title. Screw them all up.
Hellraiser. Even though we did Hellraiser commentary years ago.
I love the first one. I'm not as crazy about any of the ones after. 2 is all right.
Yeah,
but I mean, the first one is just so cool. And I'm a big fan of the book, which is actually different.
Right.
And
a little bit different.
Yeah, quite. Yeah, in some ways, quite a bit. But
But there you go, man. Nightbreed, man.
Nightbreed, a good film. If you haven't seen it, check it out.
Yeah.
It's
TV.
It's what monster movies could have been.
Yep.
And we just don't get movies like that anymore.
And fingers crossed that the series they bring out is going to be good.
I know I'll give it a try.
I will too.
A couple episodes, if you got my attention, then I'll keep watching.
Exactly.
But always a fan of Nightbreed.
Yeah. And if we didn't say it in our last post, which I don't think we did, or our last video, Happy New Year's to you guys.
Happy New Year.
And to 2019, many more Redrum episodes to come. Lots of Danny Devil. Check out our Patreon down below. Become a Patreon. I'm going to be uploading a lot of crap there. Not crap, but
we're going to be doing special shows in the nude.
Yeah. So
for the people that subscribe.
Yeah, those will be our nude episodes.
That's right.
But with that said, man, Happy New Year to you guys. Nightbreed.
Nightbreed.
Peace out. Later.